boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy, your host, your moderator. I'm Chris Adam One, and welcome to Based on a True Story podcast. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get this YouTube channel lit in the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so story time, story time, story time. I'm gonna tell you the story when I finally figured out that college ain't for me. College just ain't for me. Now, college ain't for everybody. The old adage, you should, get good grades and get a, you should really learn and study because when you transition from high school to college, everyone should go to college. Everybody should go to college. No, everybody should not go to college, okay? Everybody should not go to college, okay? College is not the end all be all when it comes to having a productive life or any type of amount of success, okay? There's several routes you can take. You can go from high school to a good paying, decent job, and you level up and you maybe become the CEO of that particular job, okay? Or if you just come straight out of high school, do your own thing, start your own business. And then, who knows? This is a Fortune 500 business. You're a millionaire, things of that nature. Okay. But nevertheless, college was not for me. Okay. So this is my story. And I can only tell you guys my story. I can't tell you nobody else's story. I can only tell you mine. Okay. And I can give you my thoughts and opinions of my finally realizing that college wasn't for me. Okay. So, been following this channel. I've been telling you guys on numerous live streams that I took a year off of graduating from high school, and that should have told me, that should have gave me the telltale sign that maybe college wasn't for me, because I wanted to take a year off before I actually hit the books again and go into that college life. Okay, so I took a year off. During that whole year off, I was at a job. It was a good job. Being a bachelor, I was soaking my oats and a lot of females. Okay, went explored as much of this country I could possibly explore. I went to Atlanta. I went to Mississippi. I went to Texas. I was going to make a mental note that maybe my first year of college, I was going to travel and go east, young man, go New York or go to Los Angeles. Okay, but I had no high school. I had nothing holding me to stay here, and I was a free man. Like I said, I was not in college. I did not have any kids. I didn't have a wifey or any of that stuff. I was just, just a single man. Okay. So I was going to reap these benefits. Most people, they have one, if not all of those things. And some people are still yet to explore and other people are not. Okay. But, nevertheless, I didn't have those things. So during the whole year, no school. I woke up whenever I wanted to wake up. I went to bed whenever I wanted to go to bed. And I was still very highly productive at my job. Okay. So year went by. Now it's time to get serious. Now, it's time. Hey, look, man, it's time for you to, lock in because, in the next about 5 or 6 months, you're going to be a college man. All right. So I qualified for a lot of scholarships. I believe Oprah Winfrey. Yes, Oprah Winfrey had a scholarship. I don't know if she has a scholarship today, but at the time when I was going to college, Oprah Winfrey had, her own scholarships. Okay. I applied for it, but I applied for it kind of late because I got the information late from my sister. But nevertheless, I applied for it to see if I could qualify for the scholarship. Okay. Didn't get it. But nevertheless, I did have a little rinky-dinky scholarship. And that scholarship definitely would have paid for my books, supplies. And that's pretty much it. I still had a job. And one of my friends said, hey, look, you might want to see if you're going to, do financial aid, because, college life is very, very expensive. You got to factor in the drive time. You got to factor in other things besides your books and your supplies. Didn't even think of it that way because I had a 9 to 5 job, and this 9 to 5 job was really paying me well. But he was saying, with financial aid, it'll be a little bit more smoother on your financial side, and you won't be stressed out on your financial side because, things just pop up at college. Things that you didn't plan for, it happens in college life. I'm like, okay, cool. So I applied for financial aid and I got financial aid. I also got a grant from the state. Okay, so I'm really living it up on the money side. I was heavily connected on the money side. The money side was cool. I had enough money for everything. And, I didn't want to splurge on my money. I just kept it in the bank. And if I ever needed it, it was there. You dig what I'm saying? So I was going to college. My first day in college, it's like your introduction. Your first day in college, it kind of reminds you of high school. Okay, there's nothing really deep, nothing really serious. You just in class. Your first day, you get introduced by other students and from around the world. You get introduced by the professor. It's kind of friendly. And the classes I had scheduled for that semester, it was that first day. It was an introduction. Okay, so I'm sitting in class, saying, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? How you doing? What's your name? Where you're from? And this, that, and the third. Making some, cozy chatter." So I met this female. She was wanting to be a model. Okay, but her parents uh, talked her into going to college because they said if the modeling thing doesn't work out for you, then you can always bounce. You can always utilize that college degree. I'm going like, okay, that's fair enough. But when I was talking to her, her name was Kamari. Had a very interesting name. A beautiful girl, a beautiful woman. She was tall. And at that time, I don't know too much about models and things of that nature. But at that particular time, models have to be a little taller. Like your most popular models, like that model that's married to Tom Brady, she's tall as well. But at that time, I did not know that, you can get approved real, real fast being not only beautiful, but beautiful and tall plus slender. And she had the total package. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. Okay. So, we're talking. Me and Kamara was talking, and she was telling me about her situation. She said she's not sure about college life, things of that nature. And I said, yeah, it's your first day. It's your first day. Gradually, when it seeps in, you'll understand what college is for. And yes, there are many benefits of going to college. But one thing that I took from our conversation was you don't force people into doing things they don't want to do. Obviously, she did not want to do this. She wanted to pursue her modeling career. Okay. And she just felt like this was a huge waste of time. But, I understand what her parents were saying. Like, hey, if the modeling thing doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that every woman that goes into modeling gets to be a model. There's going to be a lot of them that don't get the opportunity and don't get the jobs, and things of that nature. So what else you going to do besides being a model? So you need to start thinking about these things. But at that time, like Kamari was very, very beautiful. Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing? I didn't see y'all messages. Jason, what's up? What's up? What's up? Okay. Sorry about that. Normally when I have my iPad, I can see the messages, but I'm on my phone. Okay. So, nevertheless, she respected her parents where she wanted to go to, she was going to do the college thing. Okay. So yeah, our first class, very easy. Like the whole week was easy pleasy, cover girl easy for your boy. All right. So I say about my second to third week, there was a little pressure. It was a little pressure for your boy. It was definitely a lot of pressure for me. And some pressure for other people as well that was attending college. One of them was Kamari. So 3 weeks later, I saw her in my class the first week. Second week, I didn't see her in my class, and then I saw her on the third week. And then you can just totally just look like she had some concern. She had thought, you can just tell she was, thinking like, did I make a mistake type of facial. Okay. So I'm going like, hey, what's up? You missed, the second week. And I was telling her, hey, we was talking about this. The assignments, we all, Kamari was in my group where, like if you miss a class or something happens, you're with this group, and this group will tell you, hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Thank you, Jason. What's up? So you're in this group, and this group tells you what you have missed, okay? And it was so early in the semester, she didn't miss too much, so we was all talking to her. So then, she was telling me, like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. She said she took a week off, and she came to a realization that she wanted to really heavily pursue the modeling thing, and but her parents are still forcing her to take these classes. Okay, so I assume she's asking me, what should you do? What would you do if you was in my shoes or in my heels? Okay, that's why I'm thinking that she's trying to get thoughts and opinions from everybody. Everybody was just saying the basic answer like, oh no, everybody didn't want to take accountability on what they wanted to say. Okay, um, so when it got around to me, I was going like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you feel like this is a waste of time for you, and if you feel like a college, you be more happy as a model full time, just going into modeling full time and not worrying about going to college, then that's the route I would take. Sometimes you got to make yourself happy, even though the world might think that you made a big mistake. Sometimes you got to live for yourself. You can't live for others. Okay, understand what your parents are saying to you, and what your parents are telling you is the honest to God truth. You should have a college degree, but throughout history, there's been plenty of successful male and females that don't have college degrees. So if it can happen for them, why wouldn't it happen for you? Okay, so that's the best thing I could give her. And before the class even started, she looked at me. She said, Chris, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate what you told me. So I'm gone. So she left. She just left the class. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I knew she was going to quit, but I didn't know she was going to quit that fast. Right before the class even starts, she quit. She got her stuff. She shook my hand, and then she just walked off. That's the last time I've seen her. Now I follow her on social media. When because on Facebook, Facebook was kind of popping at that time, and our teachers said, hey, look, if you want to contact your classmates, you don't want to give out your phone number or your address, just give them your Facebook account, okay, and they'll just follow you through Facebook, okay. So that's what we was all doing. We followed each other off of Facebook. Like some, at that time, the majority of my friends on Facebook were people. There was two types of people, three types of people. Friends that I grew up with, my family members, and people that I added when I was in college, okay? And it's funny how, in the beginning, you knew what everybody was doing. And then when you fast forward 5-10 years later, a lot of those people who had dreams, thoughts, and aspirations of doing something by going to college, doing this, now they're doing something completely different. Okay, but they're still happy. And, not everybody on my friends list got a college degree. Some of them did, but not all of us got a college degree. Okay. So, um, yeah. So she just left. Now I follow her on social media. I follow her on Facebook. I follow her on Instagram. She's doing good for herself. She started off. She went to New York City. Kamari went to New York City. Was a what they call that, a bottle girl. I have never been to New York City. I don't know what a bottle girl is. I guess it's a girl that takes the bottles to the table. This is when I had my first Instagram account. Okay, and my other Facebook, I had to close and start all over again. So a lot of these people that I was in contact with, I'm not in contact with them no more. But nevertheless, Kamari, she's doing plays. She's still doing the model game. It was one period of time she collaborated with ASAP Rocky. And when she used to have a Twitter account, when Twitter was Twitter, she used to have a Twitter account. And she would, show off pictures of her and ASAP Rocky together, working on things, collaborating on things. It wasn't no freaky deek. It wasn't no sexual type of relationship. It was real thorough and real business-like, okay? So, she's doing her thing. And, throughout the pictures and the videos and the tweets, I take that she's happy where she's at in life. Okay. So that was Kamari. I only met her for like less than a month, but I gained a friend. I gained a huge friend. I hung around her mom. When I used to work at this job, her mom would come into the job and shop. I used to work at a grocery store, and I would occasionally see her mom. And her mom would tell me, "Oh, Kamari's doing this, Kamari's doing that." So I'm thinking, Kamari's all good in the hood, okay? And she even said numerous times when she talked about her, at first when she quit college, I wasn't on board with that. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't on board with that. But seeing what she's doing now, I think she made the best decision for her. So you can't, parents, they like to live through their kids. Like, I'm not saying in this situation, but maybe she's thinking like, hey, maybe I didn't take college super serious, and maybe, this, that, and the third, but I want to make sure my kids take college very, very seriously. Okay. So maybe she was looking at it that way. I don't know. Okay. So, so I'm still going to college. I'm about my first semester. Every semester you get like an exam at the end. And I think the semesters are like 6 months, or the season, like 6 months, 3 months. I can't remember. But at the end of every semester, you have this quiz of what you learned through the semester. Now, like I said, and if you've been paying attention to a lot of my story times, I was a real slow learner, on the school side of things. As far as my attendance go, I go to all of my classes, I take notes, I study, I do all that, okay? And maybe it's nervousness, but it just seems like when I'm taking an exam, everything that I did great in, when it was that final point to prove to the school, like, hey, he knows his ish, I will fall back some, you know. And I struggled on my first exams in my first semester of school. So I'm like, damn. Sometimes you be at a crossroad, and I'm thinking to myself, am I making the right decision about going to college? I'm not sure right now, because when the grades came in, I did I did very poorly on the exams. Now, as far as the week to week assignments, I did great with those. But when it came to the final boss, which was the exams, I struggled. And maybe because of how I studied, my study habits, how I processed information. I don't know. But to me, what's going on? Somebody's trying to send something, saying that okay, somebody's trying to, send something through the message. I don't know what's going on. It's probably a website or something. Hey man, this ain't that type of party, okay? Okay, so, yeah. So my first semester, I had thoughts and concerns like maybe I'm like Kamari, maybe, this college just isn't for me. So, um, I said, you know what? I'm gonna let the next semester be my swan song, okay, to see whether or not college is for me. So the second semester, I really focused all of my time and energy on school. I cut my hours back at work. I didn't go out at all. Okay. That was pretty much the end of, going, parties and clubs and this, that, and the third. I was really focused. I was locked in. Okay. So second semester went by. My assignments, like I said, I'm still doing the same. I'm making the same grades when I'm turning in assignments. I'm doing great on that. But I wanted to prepare myself to the final exam. So when the final exam came, I did a little bit better than the previous semester, but there was still some classes that I failed on. Okay. And some of those classes, that grade for the exam is means a lot. Means that, okay, do you understand this course or do you don't understand this course? Okay. So there was two courses I failed. I took them back to back and I failed them back to back. So when I was talking to my social worker at, I don't know if they call them social workers, a counselor, whatever. They suggest to me like, hey, you know, uh, are you? I mean, I understand that you're saying that you understand. Do you even understand the information? Do you have a hard time retaining information? Maybe you need. They was giving me, like maybe you need a tutorer. Maybe you need to go talk to somebody, a tutorer. Uh, but they suggest that, hey, instead of retaking those classes again, you can always take those classes at a later date. Okay. Just focus on the other classes that you have to take and level up. Seems like you're doing great on those. And plus, there's other classes that you haven't even started taking yet. Let's just next year focus on that. And then we'll go back to the classes that you're failing on at a later date. Okay. So, whole year, that whole year went past 2 semesters. So, the third semester started in fall. I'm taking classes that I'm supposed to take. When I made my schedule, the classes I had a hard time with, I was going to skip those classes for this year and take them at a later date. Okay. Third semester went by. Man, I was popping. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was doing good in all of my classes. Okay. Maybe it's because of the sense of relief because of the two classes I don't have to take this semester. But in college, it's you're supposed to take your majors, all right? But if you don't have enough majors, they'll give you these fill-in classes, classes that count, but they count towards your credits. But it doesn't count to your major. Okay. So I had two classes that didn't count to my major. But there was very simple classes. And basically all you have to do is just be there. Just, just attend it. It wasn't that stressful. It wasn't that deep. It wasn't that serious. Okay. So I'm taking those classes for the fall semester. All right. Past the fall semester. Now we're going into the next semester. The next semester, that's the final semester of this year. I'm getting ready to, I'm getting ready to add my classes, and my counselor told me, "Hey, when you put it in the computer, it it slots the courses you have to take to your major, but when you try to do something else, it'll tell you, no, this is not good. You're gonna have to start focusing on your major." Basically, it was telling me I had to focus on my majors. And I had to, unfortunately, take those two classes that I struggled with last year. So that, ended my plans as far as taking a year off of those two courses that I struggled on. So now I have no choice but to take those two classes that I was struggling on. But I was feeling I was feeling very confident in myself, and I was, uh, you know, I felt like, hey, look, this fall semester, I passed with flying colors. I feel highly confident. I'm not, going out. I done cut my hours at work. Um, you know what? I was talking myself in this belief that I take these courses that I failed last year, it's going to be a different result. I'm going to pass these courses. So I went on, processed them in, and I took those courses for that following semester. Um, and when it came into when we was on our summer break, I got the results, and I failed that semester. So you start really, it's a longer break from springtime to summer into fall. Fall was going to be when I had to go back to school. So you take, it's a longer break, and you start thinking about, okay, should I, schedule some more classes? Now, here's something else that, um, here's something else. Like, if you fail a bunch of courses, and then when you try to apply for grants, they only give you one opportunity for the grants. The grants are the free money. So um, I didn't qualify for, I've been there for a whole year. And when I tried to apply for those grants, I found out those grants are like a one-time thing. It's free money from the state. It's a one-time thing. You just can't just keep trying to apply for them. Okay. I still had some of my scholarship money, but not all my scholarship money. I had money in the bank. Like, if I just use that money, I wouldn't have to apply for financial aid. But, a lot of my friends are saying, look, every year they take financial aid, and when you're in college, you don't think about financial aid, how much you're going to have to pay back, how much is the interest rate, and how long you have to pay for this loan. When you're a college student, you're just thinking about that particular semester. You're not thinking long term, you're thinking short term. Okay. So I'm, going through it. I'm talking to my people, my folks, my family. My father said, well, if you got money in the bank, why would you want to apply for financial aid in the first place? So, um, I'm trying to explain to her, well, all my other friends are doing it. All my other classmates are doing it. They're applying for financial aid. And then my father said, well, if all your friends jumped off the bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge? It may be good for them. It may be bad for them. But to me, if you got money in the bank and you can pay for your own semester, for your own classes, because the classes are, the classes is the most expensive thing to a student, then why would you go through financial aid when you have the money? I'm looking at time I pay for these classes, time I pay for the books, and the daily things as being a student. I'm gonna run through this money. Okay. So I was at a dilemma. Should I pay for all my classes, or see if I can find, or go back to financial aid? You know, so I'm at that juncture with that. Plus, I'm thinking about maybe college isn't for me. It's been more downs than up during this college journey. Sometimes you have to fall back and be realistic about yourself. So I'm asking different people. I'm asking my classmates. On social media, when you message somebody, you don't know their, all you read is the message, okay? But you don't know, how they really feel. And everybody was giving me the same old, well, if you want to pursue this degree, then why not? You should continue college, this, that, and that was my classmates, okay? But when I'm talking to my folks, when I'm talking to my people, they're going like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because, you're going to be strapped for cash, and you got to put your own money in it, plus the money that you got from the first year of college. And then, if you're struggling with these courses, why pay for something that, if you fail them again, now that's your ass. You don't wasted all your money and all your time that you're never going to get back. Okay? So I'm going through all these thoughts. So it's getting close to sign up for fall semester. And on the 11th hour, which was 2 weeks before, there's a deadline and you can't apply for the fall semesters, I went on and did it. I paid for my courses. I knew how much the books were going to be. I had money for the books. But I knew that I probably would be struggling this semester. Definitely would be struggling this semester because now it's on me. It's on my dime. When it was on someone else's dime, you could, ease up some. You can, do this, you can do that. You can, when it's on somebody else's dime, it's like, you could chill. You could be on a cruise control. But when it's your dime, when you're paying for it, okay, now it's serious. This, we need to really be serious. We need to be really locked in, okay? So I went through the fall semester. I took those same classes because that was pretty much the only classes I was able to take. And after that semester, I failed. Sorry, I wish I could give y'all I wish I could, say that everything turned around. I passed everything. I continued my college journey and this, that, and the third. I'm just telling you the way it happened for me. I failed big time. But I had like 3 weeks to sign up for the second half of the semester. Okay, so I'm saying to myself, you know what? College is not for me. College is not for me. Because, yeah, I could have signed up for financial aid, but that would have put me in deeper debt. I'm already, when you start going through your school journey, the first part of it, you're not really thinking about, how long you got to pay this loan out for financial aid. So, you know, a year, a year and a half of college plus going to work, you start uh, putting the numbers together, and you start saying to yourself, wow, I owe this much for financial aid. I need to fall back. Okay. Because why dig myself in a deeper hole? So now you're thinking more so of the long-term game than the short-term game. Short-term game is going to college, hopefully getting your degree. And even if I got a degree, and got the job that needed that particular degree, will I be able to? I still owe that balance to financial aid. Lucky for me, I only had a year of financial aid that I had to pay back. Okay. I have seen horror stories of people paying back financial aid being in college for 4 years or for 5 years, I've heard doctors who had financial aid, who are professional licensed doctors, still paying on their financial aid. Okay. You know, you're making all that money, and most of that money is going to your financial aid. Okay, so do you really want to, even if you get the degree, do you really want to go through all that stuff? And I wasn't trying to become a doctor. Okay, so uh, I made I made the right choice into that was going to be the end of my journey as far as going to college, because I came to the realization of look, this is costing you a lot of time and a lot of money that you're not going to get back. This is not like going to high school where, uh, all right, I didn't, I'm passing, but I'm no, I'm struggling, but I'm passing. It's not on my dime. What else I'm doing at that particular time. When you get older, your time is more valuable than it once was when you was in high school. In high school, you think you got all year to turn things around. Okay. When you get a little older, you don't have that type of demeanor. You don't have that type of attitude. Like, I got all year to do this. Okay. When you get older, you start appreciating time and money a lot more, because now it's on your dime, it's on your watch. When you were younger, it was, it was your parents, it was the school system. They're taking care of it. You don't have to take care of it. But now when you get older, now it's all on you. So now you got to make the right decisions for yourself. You got to make the right decisions for yourself. So now I'm older. And I can't, I can't attach myself to my parents. I'm older now. I'm just an adult. I'm an adult. So I said to myself, college ain't for me. Sometimes you got to make choices that at that time you don't like the choices, but it's the best decision you can make for yourself. And yeah, I miss college life. I miss those things. I had a good time. I had a good run in college. But sometimes you have to fall back and say to yourself, okay, this is costing us a lot of money. This is costing me a lot of money, and it's costing me a lot of time. And even if I figured out a way to get my degree, do you imagine how much debt I would be in? And I got to make sure that that degree, I'm gonna be able to support my lifestyle and still pay for this financial aid. So I just came to that conclusion. Hey man, college ain't for you, dog. College is definitely not for you. And let me tell you something. That was many moons ago. And I must say, I made the right decision. I made the right decision. When I had my Facebook my first Facebook, and I had all the students that, were in my class, that I was close to. A lot of them, even though we, grew apart and we don't physically meet each other because we're not going to college no more, a lot of them came to that same conclusion themselves. A lot of them became mothers. A lot of them became fathers. A lot of them just switched positions. A lot of them found jobs that didn't need a college degree. Um, just a lot of them. So, and like this dude I used to work with, his name is Samuel. Like he spent almost a decade in college. Almost a decade in college. Woo, Jesus Christ. Could you imagine the bill? But see, the thing about him was his family is rich. I mean, his family is very wealthy. His father is a doctor, a very successful doctor. Um, I forgot what his mom does, but I think she's in the medical field as well. They're wealthy. But they moved away from here and they moved to Detroit. It's very affordable in Detroit. The cost of living is very low for a wealthy family like his. It's easy for them to move into Detroit because they're not paying as much taxes in Detroit like they was paying over here, and the cost of living over here is much higher than the cost of living over there in Detroit. Um, so they moved back to Detroit. Samuel stayed here. He's got a degree, but now a degree that he don't have to pay for. I'm pretty sure his father paid for that degree, but now he's struggling because of he's telling me about this condominium he's got downtown, and he's struggling to pay for that. He's got to work overtime, this, that, and the third. But to me, I could have been like Samuel. I could have. Now I don't know if I would have spent 10 years in college, but uh, if I would have gotten my degree and I would have, kept depending on financial aid, how difficult that would have been once I had gotten my diploma and I, went to my, major. I got a job in that particular major. I would have to pay that financial aid back. So, um, peace of mind, people don't realize peace of mind is more valuable than money that you're earning anytime, any day. I already have peace of mind. Peace of mind, I'm not stressed out about bills. I'm not stressed out about this, that, and the third. But mainly the bills, because a lot of people are in financial debt even today. People can't even afford their mortgages, their car notes, their car insurance. People can, if they can't afford those, even the places that they stay in. If people can't afford that, then now you're adding on, financial aid that you got to pay back. So I'm glad that I'm in the situation, that I'm in. I don't owe a lot of money, and I get to enjoy my life. I could be like, Samuel with the rat race and all. Hold up. Hey man, sorry. I was really meaning to timestamps. Oh, you was doing timestamps. Oh, okay. Uh Time hop. Life's good. I was really mean that time. Oh man, it's hard reading these messages on your phone. I wish I was on my tablet. Hey man, sorry, I was really mean last Life's good. I got most of what you're trying to say. I look at it like this, dog. Let me finish up this story and then I'll get to you. All right. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is, this whole story time is do what's best for you. Don't do what's best for what. Don't do what someone recommends you to do, and don't do what your parents did. Sometimes you got to make yourself happy. You dig what I'm saying? So do what makes you happy, because you only got one life and you got to live through this life, through the good and through the bad. And, there's people out there that are not happy with themselves, that are successful, making tons of money. And the money doesn't equate them being happy or being at peace of mind. And I think a lot of these people that's doing bad in the world, they don't have peace of mind no more. They may have all the money in the world, but they don't have no peace of mind. And that's what I would say. If I rather live a happy life with peace of mind than money, because money can't buy. You can't buy yourself or buy yourself. You can't buy yourself or buy into with money. Money can't buy you love. Money can't make you happy. You can spend money. Money is a great equalizer when it comes to taking care of your responsibilities. But you could have taken care of your responsibilities, uh, uh, you know, without the extra money. So sometimes you got to do things that evolves peace of mind. You got to have peace of mind. I rather uh, have peace of mind than a lot of money in the bank. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, I'd rather have the money than the peace of mind. And the peace of mind and the money is temporary. You're going to be happy temporarily. But then after a while, you start thinking to yourself, like, I don't have no one in my life. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with my life. I'm not happy in what situation I'm in. So I'd rather have peace of mind. So that's the moral to that story. Hope you guys enjoyed. Based on a true story, the time I found out that college wasn't for me. So, and like I said in the beginning of this story, college ain't meant, college is not the end all and be all. College is not the end all and be all. And I'm not saying college is bad. I think there's a lot of people in the world that college would mean a lot to them. So it's joining the military. There's a segment of people that joining the military is good as well. Or some people just say, hey, look, man, I'd rather just do my own thing. I want to be an entrepreneur. Sometimes being an entrepreneur might be the avenue. But the point I'm making to you guys is there are several roads you can take. You know that, right? You don't have to take going from high school to college. There are several ways to of this road, of this highway. So yeah. All right, now back to your message reel. Hey man, sorry I was really mean last time. Oh, I can say I was really mean last time. Life's good. I don't even know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. Hey, look, hold up. What's his name again? Can I click his name and see what the fuck is his name? Rust? Is that your name? Russ? Yeah, Russ. Yo, bro, let's chop it up for a second. I was gonna wrap this thing up, but let's chop it up for a second. It sounds like to me that you're apologizing for something you did or you said that you believe that it's affecting me. I'm gonna be honest with you, Russ. I have no idea what you're talking about. I live life day by day, you know. Um, and to be completely honest with you, Russ, if you're still there, by the way, um, I don't pay attention to what a lot of people say. I just keep it moving. Um, like I'm gonna tell y'all something. So I did a short and I did a review on the McDonald's new Grinch meal. Um, I should have done a mukbang video, but I said I'm not going through all that. I'll just, when I'm done with the meal, I'm gonna put a camera in front of me and I'm gonna tell you guys what I thought about the meal, this, that, and the third. Okay. If you haven't seen that short, uh, if you subscribe, you'll see my playlist. It's like it was almost like a week and a half ago. Anyway, so I'm up here talking about the Grinch meal, and I said, I told you what was in it. I said, hey man, you get these nuggets, you get these fries, and these fries have this pickle salt that you shake into the bag. That was the bomb dilly. I was kind of digging that. Even though stomach wise later on, it wasn't a good look. Just wasn't a good look. But that's neither here nor there. That don't have nothing to do with McDonald's. All right. And then I said you get these socks. Now, when I watched the video, I said you get these socks. I didn't say you get free socks, but you didn't get. You just get these socks. But let's just say, for the sake of argument's sake, I said, hey, you get these free socks. Okay. So, I'm telling you about the meal, what I liked, what I liked, what I didn't like. It was a typical McDonald's meal, except, and then I also said the dill pickle salt, that should be featured throughout the year, because sometimes you want to try something different every once in a while. Not all the time, but every once in a while, and particularly with, when you go to McDonald's, it's just, hey, look. When you go to McDonald's don't have the best fast food. It's just typical McDonald's. Okay, they don't change nothing. You get what you get. Okay, it's affordable, and I think that's the number one reason why McDonald's constantly stay busy, because it's affordable, and it's something quick to eat on the go and on the run. Okay, I get all that. So anyway, I'm talking about the meal, and I said you get these socks. We'll just say, for the sake of argument, I said free socks. I watched that video again. I never did mention that they were free, but hey, whatever. So someone in the comment section commented, yeah, with those McDonald's, I tried that meal, but those socks are not free. Those socks are factored into the price. And I'm going like, really? We're gonna really go here. We call these comments, as a content creator, tryhards. A lot of you guys try hard so much. I don't know if y'all trying hard because you want to be impressive in the comment section, or you trying to impress me, or you're trying to impress others, or maybe you're trying to impress yourself. I don't know. Sometimes you guys are tryhards. Y'all, you just try too hard to be down. A lot of you guys want to be down like Brandy. I want to be down. Okay, whatever. All right. So he says, he made a comment. He said, yeah, those socks ain't free. They're factored into the price. So I commented back, and I said, when I'm pretty sure that that's the case, but it's not like you can buy these socks, because these socks do not have a price. You can go to any McDonald's store and say, hey, I don't want the Grinch meal. I just want the socks. So how much for the socks? They're going to say to you, unfortunately, the socks are attached to the meal. The socks do not have a price on them. That's the only point I was making to this try hard. There's no price for the socks. Therefore, what you're saying, I get what you're saying, but you know, the Grimace meal, it will be the same price with or without the socks, because he's not looking at and not thinking about that the drink is I think it was a medium. You can get a medium or large drink, and there were 10-piece nuggets, and then there were extra large fries, not regular fries. There were extra large fries, meaning it was like 2 handful of fries. If you get that meal today without the Grimace meal, if you just get, y'all want a 10-piece nugget, I want let's just say a medium drink, and I want large fries, it's gonna come out to the same price as the Grimace meal. You know that, right? You don't even have to believe me. Go to McDonald's, just order that particular meal. It's gonna come out to be like $10. I think that Grimace meal was like $11. $10, $11. Okay. And I'll be honest with you, I think it'd be the same price, to be honest with you. But that's neither not here nor there. The point I'm making to you is theoretically, the socks are free. They're free. The socks don't make the meal. The socks don't break the meal. You know, obviously they're trying to, this is just a promo type deal. If that's the case, then the box, I'm pretty sure on their side of the fence, where they have to document everything, the cost, like the napkins, the straws, the bags, the box itself, you know, I'm pretty sure there's a price that they're factoring in on their side. But you do know that there are some prices that you don't pay for, that they take losses in, but they're small losses. But the ultimate goal is they're going to make a huge profit. That's in any business. Everything costs on the business side of things. But as a consumer, they don't pass those costs on to you. Not a lot, not always. I'm not saying it don't. Not always. Sometimes they will eat up costs just to make you happy. That was the point I was trying to make to this dodo head, but the dodo head didn't want to listen. He comments back again. Yeah, in other words, he's trying so hard to be right. You realize two people can be right about the same thing, right? Two people can be right about the same thing. Two people can come to an equation with two different equations, but those two equations are right. They're correct. One equation is not going to be better. It's not going to, one equation doesn't mean that the other equation is wrong. Both equations are right. Okay. So he wanted to be down so bad. He commented again. I didn't comment back to him. I just said, I appreciate what you said, but the socks are free because you cannot buy these socks at the store. Therefore, they're free. Now, I'm pretty sure they cost on McDonald's end. Okay. But there's a lot, when you go to any business, there are things in that business that they will eat up a loss just to make a bigger profit. That's how business works. I didn't want to do a back and forth with him. I didn't want to go that far with him. Let him just believe what he wants to believe. You know, sometimes you gotta fall back and let people believe what they want to believe, because they're not gonna believe you regard. I could have had McDonald's himself, the CEO of McDonald's, on the live stream or on the video and say, yes, there's a cost to the socks, but you're not paying for the socks as the consumer. We take a loss on the socks just to make this meal for you guys. Okay, so you're not taking an L. You're not paying for the socks. We pay for the socks. We just give them to you for a small loss because ultimately we want to sell these meals. The meals are what we care about. We don't care about the socks. Okay. But he wanted to be right. I just went on let him be right, because you can't you can't um you can't convince anybody when they already I know this is about, and particularly with YouTube, I know this is about people in the comment section. They will not take an L for anything. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all are so thick-headed. A lot of you guys are so thick-headed where I don't even comment no more. Because if I comment, all it's going to be is a back and forth, and you telling me that you're right and all of us is wrong. Okay? So instead of going back and forth with you, I'd rather just live out my day, let you comment, and keep it pushing and keep it moving. Now, as long as you don't offend somebody in the comment section, or you do some slick shit, and I think Mr. Rust here did some slick shit. Russ, you did some slick shit. So, to me, when you're trying to be slick, yeah, I understand you want to have a trolling moment. You want to try to be funny. To me, trolling to me is, if you're trolling me, I'm going to see some smiley faces. If I see a bunch of smiley faces, I'm just going to keep it pushing, keep it moving. But when you try to troll and try to be sarcastic and trying to be funny, then to me, I have no choice but to, hey, man, you're trying to throw some salt in the game. So either I'm going to just let you continue to do this, or this is going to have to be the end of it. So to me, I don't want to be around a bunch of people like that. I know everybody I'm not saying you can't be funny. I'm not saying you can't be entertaining. But what I am saying is, if you're trying to do slick shit, trying to do some funny, trying to do some trolling type ish, then that's not going to go well over here. It's just not going to go well. I've been there and done that. I don't advertise what I do. Y'all know what I do. A lot of you guys, y'all know what I do, but y'all continue to come in here and support the content and subscribe to the channel. And y'all come in here and y'all try to make comments. A lot of you guys, I see y'all comments, but do you really? I had this one troll. He would still do that slick talking in the comment section, but after 3 years of doing the trolling, he came to the conclusion like, damn, nobody else is not liking this. Nobody else is not commenting on this little slick trolling. And he came to the realization, he finally realized that, dude, I done blocked you. The only person that sees your comment is me. And I can avoid that as well. I can just not just read it at all. But sometimes you got to do tactics like this to make everybody happy. A lot of content creators will just block you from their channel. But then what you going to do? When you find out that you've been blocked, you're going to create another profile and subscribe again. We call that in the game a 2-for-1, where that same account is subscribed both times to that channel. We call that a 2-for-1. So that's cool. Back in the early days, I played the 2-for-1, but I don't do that no more. I don't need to do that no more. So, Russ, I think that's what you're trying to say. I guess you're trying to apologize without apologizing, but it's all good. There's nothing for you to apologize for, because you didn't do nothing wrong. You ain't do nothing wrong. To me, I think, I think sometimes you got to handle things as an adult. I handle things as an adult, okay? I handle it and I move on. I move on with my day, So when you or anybody make a comment, I just let y'all just have y'all moment. Have y'all moment in the sun, make y'all little comment, but when you try to be slick about it, and Russ, now after talking to you, I think I know why you are trying to do this half-hearted apology. Okay, so it's all good. You don't need to apologize. It's good. It's good over here. I hope it's good over there. And yeah, so I'm up out of here. I hope y'all guys are thoroughly entertained with this. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. I'm gone. I'll see you guys on the next one, maybe tonight. Haven't figured out what I'm going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something. Based on a True Story podcast is out of here. I'm gone. Deuces.